Okay, perfect. All right. I'm gonna send a quick text to my Boy Scout John to see if he's coming. All
Hi,
right.
Shannon. How's it going? It's been a while. Thanks for joining the call.
Yeah.
Happy to be here. I'm just throwing some images on a slide for visual aid for in a little bit. It's mostly done. There's just like 3 things left.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be great.
All right. So I think we'll get started, and we're going to, let's see, look at my agenda here. So thanks for coming tonight, guys. I think we're going to start with Julie tonight, who is one of our members, and she is an eco entrepreneur, and she recently had a little, oh, actually, I think we have Randy, which is John.
Hello.
Oh, hi, John. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. All right. So actually going to start with John because he's really quick, just like 5 minutes. So I'd just like to introduce you guys to John. He is a scout. I don't know which group you're with.
Troop 767.
Okay, so Troop 767, and he's working towards his Eagle Scout ranking. And so he's going to be doing a project at the Grange, and I'll let him tell us the rest of it. So go ahead, John.
Okay, I will be replacing the current mulch path with stone pavers. So that's the majority. I'll be replacing it, putting weed barrier under it. That's the majority of what the project is going to be. I was going to ask for donations here, but I got all of my donations, so that's not needed. So.
Whoa, great job.
That's all of my things.
Nice. So how did you get all your donations already?
Family members.
Oh, nice. People are very supportive when you ask, especially if you're a kid. It really helps. It's harder when you're adults, but nice work on that. So yeah, he's replacing the path around the community garden there at the Grange. So I think it's going to look really nice and a little more like professional and stuff than the path we currently have, which just has kind of sticks bordering it and stuff. So hopefully it'll make it look nice and more people will want to join the community garden at the Grange. So awesome job on that, John. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm glad to hear that your fundraising is pretty much done for you. But if I'll probably still send out a thing in our newsletter with the link in case people still want to donate to you. Any extra money does go to the Crescent Grange. So you are supporting a good cause, even if we end up doing that, but maybe we'll be able to do a little more with the project there. So nice job.
Hey, thanks, John.
Yeah, thank you. And quick question for you, John. Was it you and your team that also built the compost bins, or was that another group that also did that for us?
Yeah, that was my friend Spencer.
Okay.
He originally got me into this project, kind of.
I think John helped with the actual building of the bins though, didn't you, John?
I did.
Yeah, so we can thank him for that.
Yeah, thanks for that, John.
They do good work, these scouts, so we want to stick with them. All right, thanks so much, John. Any other questions for John about his project?
What's the timing, John?
Planning to build the path on April 3rd, I think it was. Yeah.
Okay.
So
we were hoping to have it done before Earth Day in case people are heading to the Grange, and so it'll look real nice then.
Yeah, that's cool. That's great.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks again, John. Thanks.
Oh, Sheila, I think you were on mute if you wanted to.
I was curious about the weed barrier. John, wondering what material you'll be using for the weed barrier.
Miss Brianna has already provided me with the name of a weed barrier that she thinks will be best for the garden.
It's almost like industrial strength stuff. So it was kind of the best I could find online, I think. So
Okay.
we're hoping it'll do the trick. All right. Awesome. Thanks again, John. I think we'll move on to Julie now, who's going to talk about her business. And she was recently featured in is that an online magazine or something?
It
Julie?
is online magazine, and I'll share. I was going to share after the prezo the link. I have it up here because it has some good photos of the products too, so you guys can see probably better than my background. But it's Voyage Denver, and I'd never heard of them before, but they're a really great magazine. They showcase small businesses, local artists, and just people in the Denver area. And they have an online magazine that comes out every month. And so they reached out to me to showcase the business. They really liked the idea of reusable products, and it was an honor. I had no idea. It was really exciting. It was a lot of fun. So I'll start. So I'm Julie DiCrescenzo, and I run a small eco product business in Broomfield. And I sew and design reusable household products. And the goal is to really eliminate single-use products in the home. And I'm open to anything. We've had a lot of suggestions of products. Right now, we sew snack and sandwich bags, reusable produce bags. One of my top sellers is like a pocket tote you can put in your purse, which I use all the time, or your laptop bag. So you'd never forget your reusable bag at the store. And I made Brianna, she come up with a great idea, like reusable Swiffer dusters. Because right now, if you buy Swiffers, you know they're pretty junky. You know, you buy them and you can't rewash them. So I'm going to be adding that to the product list, thanks to Brianna's idea. And my goal, really just, reduce single race product. I think once you start to load your lunchbox with reusable napkins and snack bags, it's like you can never go back. I can never see plastic in my son's lunch if I don't have to. So, little background, I started kind of just as a seed. I started sewing bags for my son's preschool lunches about 3 years ago, and it just kind of took off. I started making them for my nieces, nephews, family, and then it grew into where I applied for a craft show. And the first craft show was at the Wonderland Brewery, which was a lot of fun. People buy a lot when they're drinking too. And so the first craft show I did was Wonderland, and my dad, my father, and my mom helped me make a craft display for the show. And we ended up using, my dad had this antique bird feeder. We used that for like the stand. We used reclaimed wood. My parents are kind of collectors. My dad says he's the original American picker from that show. So we just built this table out of everything that was like repurposed, recycled, and had a lot of fun doing the show. It kind of became the standard for the business now. I mean, everything is like the sewing machines in the shop are reused, repaired. And if they can't be repaired, they're repurposed, like this back here. This is a lamp now. So it's like a 1940s sewing machine that my dad and I made into a lamp. So it was fun. And just looking at some notes here to stay on track. So from there, I've done a few craft shows. Last year was exciting. Before COVID, we did Broomfield Days, some holiday craft fairs. And it's exciting to see how many people want to get into reducing waste in their homes. I think my aesthetic, so to say, is just fun. You know, like you carry around maybe a purse with the design or a wallet that you like. I like to create bags that are fun, have a lot of color, are unique to kids, or, you know, if you're into like modern fabrics, or like here's one I did, like this fabric was from a local Broomfield fabric store, just oranges. So that's kind of what we do. We make it fun and functional. One thing that I really love is on these, hope you can see on these snack bags, inside there's a lining fabric. And this lining fabric that I use, I order from a company that they're made in the US and Canada. They're a local textile company, and they use no toxins. They're environmentally, they use environmental practices. It's certified food safe, certified consumer safe. So this, you know, this is important for me to use local source and fabric that I know has no toxins. So that's inside the snack bags. Let me see here. Sorry, I'm just looking at my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. You know, in our business, I mean, I love to use, you know, we try to use like donated fabric from local businesses. There's a couple great textile stores in like Fabricate in Boulders, the name of one, and our quilt store in Broomfield has great fabric. Like to try to buy local first, or reuse recycled fabric or donated fabric. So we can save it going from into the landfills. And that's kind of wrapping it up. I'd like to share my screen. I want to show you guys the article and then have you take a look at some of the products. Oh, and then this is a first draft, but here's the Swiffer I made for Brianna out of flannel. So just kind of comes right off, and you can throw it in the washer. And let me share 1 second here.
There's also some questions in the chat for you, Julie.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Do you have a website other than Facebook?
I do, yeah. Let me open up that. Hold on, let me.
I just posted it in the chat. It's snagsbyjulie.com, right?
Yes, that's it. snagsbyjulie.com.
Oh.
And I have an Etsy shop. One of the biggest challenges is I love to be in person. So most of our business was at craft shows, Broomfield days, local markets, and now with COVID, it's moved all online, and that's another beast completely. But I do have an Etsy shop. So if you go into the snagsbyjulie.com, there should be a link right on that first page that'll take you to the Etsy shop. And I can also do custom, you know, snack bags, produce bags. If there's a character you're looking for, a color, a design, I can do that. So, you know, just let me know. I definitely can place some custom orders. And let me pull up the chat. Was there any other?
Oh, Shannon asked, have you connected with the owner of Zero Waste? She's always looking for zero waste products to add to their offerings.
Oh, I haven't, huh?
You want to mention a little more about that, Shannon?
Yeah, so I think they call themselves the Zero Market. That's what they call themselves. They've been open 3.5, 4 years. And the entire premise of her shop is that it's all zero waste materials and things that can help you transition your lifestyle. She has one location in Stanley Market, another location that will be opening, and that other new market that I can't remember the name of that has the New Zealand ice cream in it, like Edgewater or something like that.
Oh yeah, okay.
But she would be really interested to see more about your work. She might be a good ally for you.
Okay, that's excellent. It's Zero Market. Yeah, thank you. That'd be perfect.
Elise, I don't know if you can find that online and post it also in the chat, or if Shannon can.
Sure.
Thanks.
All right, let me share this. Let's see here. Okay, let me, can you guys see this okay? It's like a website.
Yep, looks good.
All right, so this is what came out, and if you're interested in reading it, I'll have Elise or Brianna send out the link.
Yeah, the link's already in the chat if you want to click on it there.
And I wanted to show you, I'll scroll down to some photos. You can see that's my sister, my younger sister. We're 17 years apart. And this is, I had a request for bowl covers. This is one of my favorite to make. You can kind of choose any fabric you want on the outside, and then, you know, we use it for bowl covers instead of using plastic wrap. And this just kind of shows the lining fabric. It's a kind of like a waterproof lining that's inside here. This is my niece, and these are just a view of all the different snack bags with, you know, zipper on the top and the lining inside. Some grocery totes. These are fully lined. I know everybody's probably got 1,000 grocery totes, but they make great gifts. If you do order something as a gift, you'll get like a nice little compostable gift bag and everything ready to give to as a gift. So that's all included. Me, pictures of me. That's the sewing room there. This was a cool one. This is like a Japanese knot lunch bag. That's pretty fun. And then here's some kind of the snack bag set with the lining. Another popular one is is just napkins that are, people want to go back to washable napkins for dinner parties, or I put a lot of like flannel napkins that I make for my son in his lunch bag, and he loves them. They're very soft. So unpaper towels. Make pet snack bags, again with the same lining. We do have, they make great like pet snack bags too, and I make some with key rings on them. Let's see. And the popular one this year was reusable toilet paper. So this was, I think I had a few customers request it. Some of them actually used it, and some it was just more for like a COVID emergency stash. So, and then this is just an overview. Here's the produce bags, and you know, some of the other, just an overview of everything. And of course we made masks this year, and kind of our whole family chipped in to make that. So hopefully, you know, I'm hoping in the next 6 months, the craft shows will be back and we can get out there and you know, start to bring the bags to people in the community and go from there. So,
Looks awesome, Julie. There were two other comments in the chat from Augustina. She said, I can totally see your products at Home Fill and Joy Fill, and she left the links for those.
ooh, okay.
So yeah, so a little more for possible expansion for you there.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Home Fill and Joy Fill. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And the two links are in the chat there, so you can follow up on those, and we'll maybe do a whole like eco zero waste friendly shopping and include a bunch of these links in our follow-up email for this. So
great. And you know, I've also, not that I planned this, but I've had I started doing like workshops. I have my stepson's girlfriend was in the Miss Colorado Earth competition last year, and she had me do a workshop for the contestants because they wanted to learn how to make snack bags out of Goodwill fabric. And so I'm starting to get into and enjoying doing some workshops, whether we make Swiffers or, maybe a basic snack bag to start. I would love to, if we want to do something like that too, I'm completely open to that.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds fun. I think we could put something out there and definitely invite people and see if they want to do that, if they have a sewing machine at home that they could participate.
Yeah, and I've got a few here. I'm a kind of a hoarder, so I can always bring a few as well.
Okay. Nice. All right. Well, are there any other questions for Julie from anybody?
Hey, Julie, have you done any or had any request for like gift wrap? I know it's easy to use a gift bag, but like for kids, they want to, my granddaughter wants to unwrap things, not take something out of a bag. So it would be really cool to have like reusable with like holiday decorations or birthday decorations on the fabric, different sizes of gift wrap.
I love that idea. I had a niece that was into that a little bit, where she would wrap and she'd use like little vintage ornaments on it. I think I really love that idea. And
yeah, we use like old sheets and stuff, but
that's
it's hard to get holiday themed ones, or and I would so use a reusable one, right, instead of a sheet each time and then trying to keep track of all the pieces of sheet that we've got laying around that we've wrapped things in. And
oh, absolutely.
With some kind of a little attachment or something that you just wrap it up and somehow attach it and they can unwrap it.
I love that. And then, they could use it for they could use it for their dolls or their room. I love that idea. Thank you.
Awesome. Julie, if you want to share like your email or something in the chat, I know Siobhan's saying she has a lot of fabric if you need some more. So 3 places to maybe get some. Yeah. So people can contact you then if they are interested. So awesome.
Here. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah.
There we go.
Any other comments or questions?
Hi, Julie. I had a question about the material that's inside the sandwich bags and the produce bags. Is that like water resistant?
It is. I mean, it's definitely water resistant and it lasts. We did a test on it. So, unfortunately I mean, you still have like the zipper on the top, so you still have some air that'll get through. But if you had like water in the fabric and we tested it, your snacks will stay fresh for about 12 to 14 hours. The fabric itself, though, is without the zipper and without the construction is waterproof.
Okay, cool.
So this is Sheila. I don't have a suggestion, but I am wondering what you might be able to do with old maps. I have used old maps. You know how when you go trail walking or hiking or traveling and you've got these paper maps and you kind of collect them and don't really use them. I have used them to wrap gifts with, but perhaps that's an area, because I know people collect pamphlets, the paper maps, and maybe there's something you could do with those.
Well, no, I was just thinking, I have a 7-year-old son and he loves maps, and he would just adore something being wrapped in map, something that could be reused. So that's something to think about. I think that's something especially, the little navigators would enjoy. So
yeah, right.
Or even like ski trail maps or something, like people that are really into skiing or snowboarding, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So just a thought. I just realize that a lot of people collect them and they end up throwing them away. I haven't found any other real use for them other than to wrap gifts.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I mean, if you have some, I mean, I would, and plus, I'll probably get on Pinterest right after this and see if anyone's come up with some other ideas.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, I have lots of maps, and I also have a lot of material that I've held on to for decades.
Well, we've got Julie's email in the chat there. So if anybody wants to email her with suggestions or donations or anything like that.
Okay. You're going to put it in the minutes as well, Brianna?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, great.
And the nice part with snack bags, they're just so small that it's easy to use all that extra scrappy material, I could make with a yard of fabric, I think I can make, 10 bags. It's so great. So we don't have to have yards and yards of fabric to make something.
Yeah, it's a great way to reuse. Nice work. All right. Thank you so much, Julie. And good luck with your business. I think might be a little boost for you. So hopefully a little more out of it. All right. So we're going to move on to Michelle, and she's going to talk to us about our the Earth Day event that we've started planning.
Hi, you guys. How are you? So thanks for having me. Can I share my screen? I didn't want to click on it until I've been in back-to-back meetings tonight. Welcome to Teacher Life. So I'm going to go back to, I sent an email to Bree, so I'll dial back to what we had a conversation with before. And we had talked about working through a goose chase and working with community partners in that regard. So I built out some templates just to see what it would look like and how we could collaborate in that fashion. And so I just want to share those with you. I'm not sure, Bree, did you share this with the team, the folder?
Not yet. I think I did share it with the people who met at that Earth Day meeting that we had, but not with people beyond that.
Not a problem. So to give just a nutshell overview, a goose chase is an interactive experience that you can engage in with people. And it really varies as to how you do that. You can do it one day, you could do it over a period of time. You can run multiple games, that type of thing. If it's all right, I'd like to show you what's happening right now. We have a conference of about 8,000 people that launched today, and we're running multiple games under Goose Chase. It's for teachers. And so I'd just like to hop into Goose Chase for a moment, and then I'll come back to this. So don't mind my tabs. It's just how I live. So a couple things you can see here that we do a lot of different goose chases, right? Many different projects with it. We ran a Valentine's one. This one is actually a team piece that we have done that we actually have people sign up to using a one-pager. There's a couple different ways you can do this. We actually found that the one-pager worked, and I can explain that later as we talk about it. But you can go into the game, and I have a list of my games, but I have a list of participants who have registered. So I have a list of people that have gotten into this game so far, and they participate in activities that are being pushed out, which are called missions. So we made a series of missions for this particular activity that have 66. We have a few more that are going to push out as well. I need to let you know that these seem a little disjointed. It's because this particular game is based around our guest speakers who are speaking with the conference. So a lot of our missions are tied to the speakers. So we write the missions within Goose Chase, give a question for them to answer, a place to visit, something to submit, things like that. You can have multiple types of missions, including some that include a text answer. We also have some that include a picture answer. And so like this one, for example, has an everyday mystery talking about snowflakes. We ask people to submit a picture book. It goes with primary sources. We also have one that's geolocating, that shows that you actually, with your application, go to the place and you can geolocate and show that you're there and check in and get points for that. So once we have the game running, which these are all of our missions that are going on right now, you can hide them and release them at certain times, as I mentioned prior. for those of you who are with us. But then you can go into your activity feed and you can see, like tonight, here's a great one. So we were doing a primary source drawing activity with our speaker, and people have submitted pictures. Here's a picture book answering a question. Here's a text-based one right here. So lots of different things you can do. It's really open to your ideas. And then it gives a leaderboard based on the points. And so right now it shows that Jolene is leading at 10,850 points and that Casey's at 3,200. Now, Jolene, I can tell you why she's ahead. She got in yesterday and she did everything that was open, like everything that was open. These guys just got in here today, so they're just starting with the process. So you can set missions out that are open for the entire week, so you can plan your day or what you'd like to do. And you can also put them out daily like we are with the speakers, for example. So this is how you figure out your prizes, right? If you're giving away prizes, you can do it via points. You can also have somebody, you can choose random ones that, you know, the best one for this or something like that, and award a prize too. So that can happen. That's what Goose Chase looks like from the backside as what we would be managing. So Laura and I, who are managing this right now, are in here 2 to 3 times a day, giving bonus points, not giving bonus points, etc. So in my activity feed, I can go right here and just say, hey, what a great way to think about primary sources. So I actually can click on this, and when I do that, I can add a bonus. So for example, I can put 100, and I'm going to say love the drawing, like that. And when I click this button that says add, then she gets a 100-point bonus for her drawing tonight that adds to her score. So we can log in and do that in basis to what they're submitting and how they're involved, you know, that type of thing. But how do you make it work? So making it work, you come back to these 2 pieces of paper that are really important. This is your partner list. Your partner list gives who you're working with. And so, for example, I already spoke to the Landmark Board, and I'm working with the Library Friends right now. I've reached out to them as well. We had talked about some prizes there. And that's why I've highlighted here, just to know that those are who we've spoken to. I've put their website or project here. And the reason I've done that is in your questions, some of the missions you can add a link to. And this is really interesting because if you have a specific question where they need to visit something or go somewhere or learn about something, like we had talked when we met before about having them do some things they can do from home by visiting a website, for example, you can attach that website right there. So we have a lot of them that have those attachments. So this is our base form, right? It's going to give us the website or the program. And then this is where we can put specific questions for Goose Chase if there's something that we'd like to add in the question format. And that's where building out the game comes to. In building out the game, it comes to this form. And this is usually how we work on it. You'll see that and please know that this is an example, so we can decide what we want to do. But just to give a basis, after we had talked before, I built this out and then shared it and promptly got into a filter issue at school because we got new security. And so I had to reshare it, and that's when Bree saw it. I basically build this out just as a framework and an idea. So what I did is I kind of thought about what we had talked about and did some themes. And these aren't themes that necessarily have to be done, but they're just here to show you what this could look like. So for example, I put learn and explore gardening in Broomfield. And then another theme, I came down Saturday, this could be an Earth Day grid. You know, there could be something with Earth Day in here to do. And then I could continue to go and build this out. Thursday is reuse and recycle, right? And then Friday, supporting your community. Saturday, visit and learn close to home, and our daily wrap up. So this is just a brainstorming form. Those are some types of themes that you could build. In this one, what I did then is I built this one out to give you an example of what it could look like. So I took on these two columns go together. Here is where you take those questions, the questions that we come up with based on a website or an idea or a mission statement or something we'd like people to learn. We just put the questions in here as a list. And then we go back and we build it out. And so at 6 a.m., I'm going to say there's an early riser question. These are for people who are up with their coffee. They're out for a morning run. It's something that we launch, right? Then there may be an online question. Then maybe there's a get out and do question where you can go walk or you can go see something. And then a bonus question that throws out at 11 a.m., another online question, another bonus question, and another get out and do. This type of theme, depending on what you all feel like doing, can stay alive the entire week. So you could participate that day, or you could choose to take those challenges and participate later in the week at your discretion. So for those of us who need some pre-planning or need an idea that says, you know, I can't do this because of my work schedule today, but I'm absolutely cool to do it on Thursday, then you can go do this on Thursday and have an idea of where you're headed with that. I like the bonus questions because sometimes the bonus ones are the ringers. They're the ones that actually get people excited. Not going to lie to you, they also frustrate those people who are very over competitive and perfectionist. They're going to be like, seriously? Because a lot of times when we put a bonus question out, we only leave the bonus question open for a couple hours, or maybe we leave it open overnight. So if you don't catch the bonus question that day, it may close and you may not be able to answer that question the following day. So it just really depends, you know, it's how you want to work with it. So I just laid out some timing, for example, and I've got like a 6 p.m., which is an online discovery and searching, and then a 7 is an activity that we can explore or do something else. This is a lot of questions for a day. It's not, it really looks more intensive than it is, but it's, you know, you can choose to do 1 or 10, and you can vary your points. When you're in Goose Chase and you're looking at your missions, you can see that most of our missions are here in the middle between 300 and 500 points. And we have some that are quite hard at 1,000 points up here, and then some that are very simple and easy here. So it really depends on how, you know, we want to do it. So right here, I actually went in and said, okay, what are 3 ways that the city and county of Broomfield supports gardening in the community? And so they would have to list 3 ways to get their points. They could list any 3 ways, right? Now, as somebody who's monitoring the game, and there'll probably be a couple of us, if they don't answer it right, it's called minus 200. And we take the points away too. We give them, but we also take them. For example, here, excuse me, composting is a great way to enrich your garden and help your community. How can Sustainable Broomfield help you to learn more about composting in your garden? And that's a way, with the attachment of the Sustainable Broomfield website, you could have them actually visit your website, drive some traffic to it, and answer those questions based on the information there. The next one, visit the Broomfield Xeriscape demonstration garden. I don't know how many people know that this exists, but you can see the information with it online right here on the City of Broomfield. And it says, upload a picture of your team at the garden or a screenshot of your completed survey. So they have a survey right now that they're asking people to take to give feedback about xeriscaping and gardens. So what would happen is they either have to take a picture at the garden or a picture of the survey, giving them a choice to be on site or to do something online. And they take a screenshot and upload it. So there you go. So I'm not going to go through everything, but here's, for example, a bonus question, 11 a.m. In 5 words, explain the Modern Victory Garden program. That's a program that's being heavily pushed by the Colorado Extension Office in PR and in the city. There's Explore the Broomfield Library Complex. Take a selfie with one of these. A gardening or plant book, a xeriscape garden, or the grow garden at the City of Broomfield. So these are purely examples. So it's really up to anything you guys dream up, right, for it. but this is how we lay it out. Once these questions are in here, then I just go in and load everything into Goose Chase and done. Now, how do we get people to sign up? Here's how we did it. So since we had 8,000 people, we were trying to figure this out, because on each of the games, you can run up to 10 games. And when you run up the 10 games, you can run up to 40 people in a game. So about 400 people. So what we did is called a one pager. And let me just go here and see if I've got the one pager. I'm just going to put TLD. Sorry. And we went into, we sent everybody the instructions, and then we sent them a link to this page. And the only way they could get a link is by signing up with a form. And then they went and they chose a Goose Chase code. So you could choose any Goose Chase code. And when the game became full, we just marked it full. So then that forced people to get into multiple games, right? So we had a whole pile. The reason we have a team suffrage, we had a whole school sign up all their teachers together. And so automatically had 38 people. So we closed that game. So this would be very easy for us to lay something out like this too. We send a message to people who have signed up on the form and say, you know, here is the link to sign up. We don't even have to have a form. I'm going to be very honest. We could put a link to this document that gives the instructions, right? And the sign up, we can put the instructions in the sign up, and that's all we have to do. So we don't even have to manage a form. People can just come in and sign up for the game. So lots of ways to do it. There in a nutshell is where we are. What do we do to proceed forward? I think if this is something we definitely want to do, deciding on the themes would be important. And then deciding on who our partners are and how we can illuminate their work through these simple questions. This can really be a shared document that we all can add in. And I can make that happen. Once we have, you know, our days, I basically, you can see here, I've changed some of the timing around. So for example, this day, the bonus question is at 11, where this day it's at noon, you know, so I've already done that work. What our job is to decide what our theme is, and then to figure out how to get our partner questions in here. So we can either work on this sheet or work on this one where we add a series of questions to illuminate our partners. So there you go. Does that help, Brianna? I'm not sure if that's
that was a great overview. I think that gives us a really good starting place, and probably a good place for people to start thinking about things that they'd like to maybe add to this. And we've I reached out to the folks that we met with last time for the Earth Day planning meeting, and our next planning meeting is going to be next Monday at 7:30. So if anyone is interested in joining that, if you can email me, I'll make sure that we send you the link. And then we'll all try to meet and maybe probably nail down what are the themes and then what are the partners we want to go with. So if people want to be thinking about like, oh, I'm going to reach out to the open space group or something like that, you know, and see if they're interested in starting. That would be a good place for folks to start out, is just like, see if these people are interested in partnering with us. And then maybe let us know on Monday if that's going to be a possibility, and we can start thinking about themes and partners. So
yeah, and I think we also have another sheet that's talking about, you know, prizes here. I have to be honest, I went in with a coupon that Century Middle had for a free, I don't know, it was $20. It was a $20 coupon, like what you get when you use your points, right? And I went in and I went to use it for a mug, and I told her that I was using it for an Earth Day activity. And she said, oh, really? And I said, yeah. And she goes, well, you know what? I'll double up for you. Let me give you another bag of coffee. And so she gave me a full-size bag of coffee. So it's in my freezer right now, you know, but that I was just in there and so to get this, and then she doubled up for me, you know, to make that happen. So if you've got things that, or people that you know with it, we did reach out to the library friends. I'm waiting to hear back from them. I've not heard back yet, but I expect that we will in regards to some book prizes and things like that. You know, this is a sheet that we can share too. And then I always like to just make sure that we know who's sending the thank you and how that goes around. So like here, you know, I'm just going to put Michelle because I've already taken care of it.
Right.
Just so that they know I had my kids write it. So.
Perfect. Yeah, and we can talk about more of these details when we meet on Monday. But yeah, I think it gives us all a good overview. So yeah, Julie?
Brianna, I was going to say I can donate a couple bags or items too for this, so we can talk about. I can join on Monday too.
Perfect.
We can talk about it.
Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, I'll probably just include the link in the follow-up email that I send out, and then anybody who wants to join can join on Monday. So then you don't have to email me or anything. So. All right.
There you go. Thank you guys very much. And these are here for us to start working on, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a great event. So this works wonderful. Thank you so much for taking the time to present to us. Great.
And Shannon had a question in regards to, let me go back. Do the components have volunteer components? You know, Shannon, they could. It's really up to us. We can dream anything with that. And with the volunteer component pieces, you could do that volunteer and show a certificate or show that you're there volunteering. There's lots of ways that you can do that. The target audience, really, I would say anybody who'd like to. I will say this though, signing up with a Goose Chase app needs a parent or a kiddo that's over 13. And that's because of laws online, right? So you have to have that piece online. But really, we were looking at activities that either an individual or a family could do together that would be interactive in that way. You know, there could be, frankly, a teen day with it if we wanted to go that route. You know, that's like focused at middle school and high school crowd. But I think if it's family oriented and we just sprinkle those ideas in, that would do some of that engagement piece. So it's up to you guys. Honestly, Goose Chase is kind of dream it, make it happen. I mean, here's a good example, and you can laugh all you want, but you know the incident that happened with the plane on Saturday here in Broomfield. Yep. And I had everybody texting, just like I'm sure some of you all did too, living in Broomfield. And I work with the fire department doing some stuff. And one of my fire guys, we were out guarding the metal out in the middle of the open space, you know, because people were out wanting to touch it and things like that. You can't do that. And my mother, as a joke today, sent me a picture of the circular piece that was over at the house that's near my home here. But she put Bernie in it. You know, the Bernie memes that have been going around. So it's the circular piece with Bernie, right? And we got a hoot and a half out of it. And we put it into Goose Chase this afternoon for 500 points. If somebody could tell us what event happened that was associated with this. And we put it out for 30 minutes. And we had over 40 people join in and answer. And it was just, it's that kind of thing. You can just insert it, have fun, do something different. Who knew Bernie was going to end up in Goose Chase? So there you go. All right.
Yeah, it sounds great. I think we're gonna have a real fun time with it. So definitely join in if you want to help us plan it out on Monday. So
all good. Thank you for the time. I'm going to step off and go back to the conference. We have a talk in about 20 minutes.
No worries. Thanks so much. Have a good one.
Have a good one, you guys. Thank you.
All right. So Shannon, we'll jump to you now and let you start with the Regenerative Recovery Coalition.
Yes, and I would say the theme of everything I'm sharing today is invitations. So this is one big series of invitations. If these kinds of things happen to be on your radar for ways to plug in, and also an invitation to Sustainable Broomfield generally, we would love to have you at the Regenerative Recovery Coalition. And is it possible for me to share my screen, because I made a slideshow so that you guys don't get sick of hearing me talk without pretty pictures?
Yeah, you should be able to just hit share screen at the bottom there.
Lovely. Alrighty. Cool. So can I go to present mode? All right. And just checking everybody can see my screen. Awesome. Cool. So basically, I know I was connected with you guys a couple months ago, especially during the International Climate Action Challenge. Brianna and I did the podcast with Joan Gregerson. Joan Gregerson is amazing. And then since then, I've kind of been wrapped up with the Align Center and the work that the Align Center is doing. High level overview, they are located downtown, and they're very well named. They are an organization that is an alliance of nonprofits and government entities and for-profit companies. Some of their bigger projects you might be familiar with are the Climate and Democracy Lab, Living Laboratory, and Best for Colorado. For all the business owners out there, Best for Colorado is an amazing program. It's basically like B Corp Light. It's a program through the Alliance Center that allows you as a business owner to make commitments on behalf of your business that really help differentiate you from other people and really help showcase the commitments that your business is making to drive positive change. So that's high level of who the Alliance Center is. The Regenerative Recovery Coalition is, I think, like started in November, 4 or 5 months old at this point. And it is 243 actively engaged members. Over 20,000 employees are represented by all of the businesses that are part of the Regenerative Recovery Coalition. And like $2.7 billion worth of revenue are represented by the Regenerative Recovery Coalition. So the coalition came about after they had a big event called the Emergence Series, where essentially the government entities were trying to figure out, okay, COVID is happening. We have a lot of disruption happening. How can we recover better than we are now? If there's so much that's breaking, how can we fix it so that we're fixing it in a way that more people are served, that we're moving towards a more regenerative recovery, that we're moving towards more equity for more Coloradans? There's a lot. So the link here, alliancecenter.org/coalition, is a great place to start if you're interested in joining as a member or as a company. Right now, we have about 5 groups that are active. So we have the overall coalition. We tend to meet about once a quarter. And then within that coalition, we have a lot of different working groups. And the theme of the working groups is to work together to help close gaps and to help push projects over the finish line. There's a whole category. So the big groups that are currently active, we have energy, workforce development, regenerative agriculture and food systems, which I'm on that team, regenerative business, funding, water, natural infrastructure, equity, access, and democracy, which is the other committee that I sit on, circular economy and waste, which I haven't got to participate in yet, but their work sounds amazing and also sounds super relevant to you guys' work. So that might be a good place to plug in. And then transportation and the built environment. So the idea is that professionals and organizations are collaborating around these working group topics to eventually drive positive change. We're looking at like a 6 to 12 month time period where a lot of people more connected in the know are expecting a large infusion of money basically in the next 6 to 12 months. And we're really acting quite quickly to figure out how can we make sure that this money gets spent to basically support more regenerative and equitable initiatives for Coloradans. Because there's a lot of ways you can spend money. And if we repeat a lot of the patterns that we had in the past, we will be repeating the same problems that got us to where we are. But if we can direct things a little differently with innovation, we can ideally drive more positive change for more people in Colorado. So some of these are not fully launched yet. Some of them are in progress. I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about specifically the food system group, because that's the group that I'm pretty active in. And so far that we've had 4 meetings. Our last meeting was Friday. And the big people we've heard from so far are the Colorado Collaborative for Healthy Soils, which is an amazing organization. The National Western Center, which I knew that the National Western Center was out there, but I did not know that they were actively working on really trying to address and stabilize and localize the Colorado food system. So that was a very surprising piece of information. That was pretty cool. And then actually on Friday, we heard from Anthony Mint of Zero Footprint. And Zero Footprint is a pretty amazing initiative. The idea is that Anthony was volunteering and trying to drive awareness and trying to get consumers to act differently. And after years in like an activist space, he came to the conclusion that encouraging individuals to make small changes is powerful, but it's not going to get us where we need to be as quickly as we need to be there. So as an alternative, he designed a program where 1% of any restaurant tab, so for example, you buy a $10 sandwich, it would be a 10-cent charge on top of that, that the 1% of all the restaurant tabs in any given municipality or state would actually go into an agricultural fund to fund farmers and provide funding for frontline communities to transition their farms to a more regenerative style agriculture. So cover cropping, no-till, soil health focus, things that we know and can measure that actually sequester carbon and keep it in the ground. So these are the presenters that specifically the food system group has heard from. And again, we've had 4 meetings, we've heard from 3 presenters. So we've really identified in the short term 3 breakout groups that within that overall Regen Ag working group are kind of going to break into smaller pieces, other projects, and report back to the team. We kind of think of ourselves as an opportunity to empower projects for things that our members already care about, and really to drive positive change as best we can. So we do have a healthy soils group. We do have a zero footprint advocacy group. And we also have a food hub and food sovereignty group, which is pretty exciting. And I'm pretty heavily involved in the food hub one. This is super cool. I want to, oops. This is the mind map that the National Western Center created that basically is a super high level plan for how to stabilize the food system over the next 30 years. And I will include a link, but basically this is a super interactive map. Every time you click on one thing, it like opens up a whole bunch of other pieces. And they're really trying to figure out, okay, how are all the pieces of the Colorado economy connected to each other? And what pieces do we need to address in which order in order to support our producers, drive food access, drive food sovereignty. It's pretty in-depth. This is one of those overwhelmingly awesome mind maps, but I will include a link as soon as I go off of present mode so you can dig around there. And for you guys at Sustainable Broomfield, if you are looking for ways that you could point to a map and explain where you fit in to an overall food system stabilization and localization effort, this might be a really good conversation piece for figuring out which pieces you touch. And then with the Alliance Center, we're having a big gathering. It's our 2nd gathering since actually establishing. It's actually this coming Thursday, February 25th from 2 to 4 p.m. I will also include the link there. I definitely invite all of you to come and join and check it out and listen to speakers. We will have, I cannot remember her name, but I remember that we have a lot of presenters I'm excited about. And this is a great opportunity. You guys are welcome to join as a group or as a team. You're welcome to join as individuals or businesses. But pretty much if you have an interest in driving positive change within Colorado and really helping make sure we recover better than we were before, this is an excellent place to plug in. And so that's the Alliance Center bucket. Amazing organization, love them very much. The other kind of bucket that I'm going to talk about and have invitations for is a group called the Climate Crisis Policy. This is a national group, largely based on the East Coast. And basically their initiative is when the legislative season happens, there are all of these different organizations that are pushing for all kinds of policies. We're focused on climate policy in this group. And the idea is that instead of having several hundred organizations supporting several hundred different varieties of bills and kind of being one big web of confusion for legislators, the idea is that we create a climate bills package that has support from hundreds, if not thousands of organizations around the country. And so this is a pretty audaciously large task. It's a heavy lift. What we're looking at on the screen is the various policy sectors that we kind of digest in smaller pieces. So within this organization, they are rebranding themselves as the Earth Bill Network. So climate crisis policy will equal Earth Bill Network over the next couple weeks or months. I currently lead the land, forest, water policy sector. So we really dive into the House and Senate recommendations from their climate select committees. And this is really an invitation if you have wanted to get involved in policy, but weren't sure where to start, or you want a gentle, easy way to get your feet wet without like going down to the courthouse and talking to a person that you've never met before. This is a really great place to start. And so what I mean by that, oh, here's the screenshot. Oops. Here's the screenshot of the collection of bills that we have in that climate package. But what I mean by that, so these are the covers of both the Senate and the House's climate reports and their recommendations. So this is basically sitting members of Congress and sitting members of the House saying, hey, these are what we define as priorities for policy related to climate. These are all of the pieces that we think matter. These are all of the things that we would like to do if we had the votes, is a good way to think of it. So the task for each sector is to analyze the pages of these documents that pertain to their particular sector. So for example, in Land, Forest, Water, we have a team of about 5. We dive into these documents. We're looking for policies around forest management, Bureau of Land Management, fisheries, offshore oil regulations, offshore wind, all these different pieces. And so what we're looking for is to identify, which is the next screen, we have this handy dandy spreadsheet, is to identify where are there things in the House where, or the House's recommendations where the collective doesn't even have it on the radar that this is something the House is looking at. Same thing, are there things that the Senate is looking at that's not on our radar? Are there things missing that we were hoping to see the House and the Senate care about that we don't see any policy for? So this is, if you're analytical and you want a gentle way to get into policy, I wholeheartedly invite you to join us, because the Land, Forest, Water team in particular, we're nearing the end of the project. I know that the farm policy team and the environmental justice team need a lot more support. So if you're interested in farm and agriculture policy, we have plenty of ways to help you plug in. And just generally, this is a good way to, again, get your feet wet in policy without, it's a gentle way, basically. And I know I'm going kind of fast, and in presentation mode, I cannot see people's faces. Let me switch to gallery. Do we have any questions so far? Because I know I've had a lot of information really fast. And take yourself off mute because I can't really see the chat.
So Shannon, how is the climate crisis policy tied in with, I know you said it's kind of like trying to gather up all the different initiatives, but like I'm a member of the Climate Reality Project.
Yep.
Right. And
yep.
And we're pushing legislation, especially at the state level, but
yep.
there's a climate reality team pushing at the national level too. So, first of all, is Climate Reality Project part of the climate crisis
yes.
policy organization?
Yep.
Okay.
So, yep. And so the way it's set up is that ideally we would like organizations to endorse as many of the bills in the package as they feel comfortable endorsing. Some organizations are very policy focused and they're only comfortable endorsing one particular policy that they have spent a lot of time on. Other organizations are a lot more comprehensive in scope and they want to endorse all of the bills in the package. But the idea is that we're collecting support so that when the various teams and activists and policy advocates go to the legislators, they can say, hey, this isn't just one club, or this isn't even just one big group. This is a group of groups. This is everybody. So Climate Reality Project is an endorser on a lot of the bills, and you can actually check that out on, and I'll put the link in the chat after I go off present. But yes, and then another piece that is pretty foundational to understanding the Earth Bill Network, which is how climate crisis policy will be rebranding themselves very shortly. They will be called Earth Bill Network. So they're tied with Project Drawdown. Project Drawdown is a pretty big project to tangibly identify scientifically backed policy changes that could meaningfully prevent climate change. Ideally, we get to the point where we actually reverse it, but like goal 1 is prevent further climate change, stabilize bioregions. So a lot of the policies that are in this Earth Bill package basically need the blessings of Project Drawdown to verify that, hey, this is a policy that will actually make a difference. So that's kind of how it's vetted. And they just announced this past week, which I missed the meeting, I'm super bummed, but they just announced this past week that MIT is actually partnering with the Earth Bill Network, AKA Climate Crisis Policy, to basically act as a scientific review board for all of the policies that get recommended. So MIT, the Earth Bill Network, and Project Drawdown will have this science-based collaborative to vet the policies that come through. Sometimes there's a policy that has a lot of public goodwill behind it, but then when you dig into the numbers and figure out how much it's actually going to push the dial, it doesn't really make a huge difference or not big enough to get the kind of change that we need. So again, this is an invitation. If you are interested in policy and you want to start reading recommendations from the House and the Senate and basically figure out where the gaps are, and you're into spreadsheets and you're into analyzing, definitely email me. I would love to get you connected. I might be switching from land forest water into the farm team. I'm not sure yet, but if you are in the farm team, I will kind of help get you plugged in. And any questions about Regenerative Recovery Coalition or the Alliance Center? I know I am talking a lot. I don't see any questions. Cool. So last thing from me, if you want to get in touch with me, I have a lot going on. I'm co-owner of Hugarado Farms, which is a soil health focused urban permaculture project. We grow microgreens, mushrooms, and we'll be doing a GSA or CSG, which is community supported grower. So if you're looking for locally grown produce or veggie starts in the spring, or perennial pollinator plants that are already established, we can help you out there. I also own Booksy Financial Group, which is a bookkeeping firm seeking to support companies that seek to drive positive change. So if you're looking for cleanup help before tax season, you can also reach me there. There's both my email addresses. And yeah, if there are any other questions, let me know. I will stop sharing and start posting links. But thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Shannon.
You bet.
And thanks for all the work that you're doing. It's good stuff. Project Drawdown is the best too.
They're pretty awesome. And I didn't get to go to their conference. It was about a month ago, but the feedback I'm hearing out of it and the policy work that's happening is very exciting. So.
Awesome. And we actually did sign up for Sustainable Broomfield to be a member of the Regenerative Recovery Coalition. So I was going to attend that meeting on Thursday and see maybe where we can go with that and which like working group we might be interested in being involved with. So if there's anyone out there who's interested in doing that, we'll have the link for that meeting on Thursday. I'd love to have someone join in and chat about it, and we can see if there's some way that we can help in one way or another. So
it's a pretty lively group, and the circular economy working group, which I just don't have the bandwidth to link up with. I wish I did.
Yeah.
From what I've heard from the people in that group, they're definitely focused on composting type initiatives. So if you guys are, I know you're composting oriented, that might be a good place to start. And or the Regen Ag team with the healthy soils focus. So both of those might be places to plug in.
Yeah.
And I'll post those links next.
Yeah, I definitely personally have interest in those. And, you know, I don't know what the whole group or other people in the group are interested in, if, you know, they want to do more along other lines. But yeah, those sounded interesting to me, definitely.
Yeah, and you could join as a group and also join as individuals. So if you don't all have to decide that you want to do the same thing, you could kind of tackle different projects and collaborate. I think the thing that as a coalition that we're identifying is we're looking for ways to link a series of like report backs. So for example, the Regen Ag team is pretty active and we have quite a few projects starting up, but how do we stay connected with the equity team or the circular waste team? So I think that's what comes next. And we do operate through Slack and post all kinds of great resources, and it's a pretty solid group of people. So I will get to posting all the links that I said I would post. And if you guys think of more questions, just let me know.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Shannon, for taking the time. And
You
yeah,
bet.
does anyone else have any questions or comments or anything? Okay. All right. So we'll move on to Craig, who is going to talk about a few local legislation things that are coming up pretty soon. I think you're muted, Craig.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I get the right
PowerPoint.
PowerPoint up here. So, okay.
No worries. Looks good.
Okay, you can see that.
Yep.
Let me put it in present. So I'm going to go pretty fast. I want to give Brianna a couple minutes for a wrap up here at the end, and I don't want to bring us too far over. So I want to talk mostly about the state stuff, but I just wanted to kind of say, you know, what's happening at the national level, and I know you can get a lot more detail from the Earth Bill Network stuff that Shannon talked about. But you know, I just wanted to say, finally, some good things are happening at the national level, and so I'm not going to go read through all of this. I'll make it available to Brianna, and she can share it afterwards. But I'm really excited about the cabinet that that Joe Biden is putting together, and you know, especially like Deb Haaland for Secretary of the Interior. And the one plug I'll give for, you know, if you want to call Hickenlooper or Michael Bennett about anything, tell them they have to vote for Deb Haaland for Secretary of the Interior. It's so important that we have an Indigenous person leading that department. So I will move on to the state level stuff. So, because the main thing I want to do is tell you how you can be involved and how you can follow along with legislation that's happening at the state level. So here's kind of what's happening at the governor's office kind of level. This isn't legislation necessarily. It's more kind of like the executive order stuff that President Biden would do. But so they just released the greenhouse gas reduction roadmap about a month ago now, which calls for you know, specific percent reductions in greenhouse gas emissions at the state level. It's got a lot of really good stuff in it, from, you know, accelerating the transition to EVs and moving quickly to renewable energy, reducing methane pollution from oil and gas activity. I wish it was just reducing oil and gas activity, but baby steps. What's not so good about it is there's nothing that's really binding on the marketplaces towards these goals. So, you know, there's a lot of policy things that can happen, but there needs to be a lot more focus on, you know, binding legislation that forces those things to happen. And then, you know, the Air Pollution Control Division, which is kind of the part of the state government that drives the greenhouse gas reduction, they don't have a plan to meet, they don't have a specific plan to meet the targets that they've put out there yet. So there's still a lot of work that needs to be done. On EVs, the stuff they're doing is great, but hydrogen vehicles, I think, are going to be a really big part of the overall transportation solution, and they don't really have anything on that yet. So here's kind of what's happening. The legislation session for 2021 just got started last week. These are the bills that we know are going to be coming through. There's probably going to be a lot more, but if you're interested in any of this stuff, I listed who the main sponsor of the bill is here. And then on the next page, I'll talk a little bit more about how you can actually comment or participate in some of the committee meetings on this stuff. But Brianna put a blurb in the newsletter about the plastics pollution bill that is out there. Lisa Cutter is the main sponsor of that. So you can find out a lot more details in what Brianna put out on that. There's another bill that actually gives what I was talking about on the previous page with the greenhouse gas emission reductions. It's called, the bill doesn't have a name yet, but the proposal that they're putting together is basically giving HB 19-1261 more teeth. So basically it's really looking at those reduction targets and putting a focus on justice and carbon fees and kind of the concrete stuff that I talked about that's missing there today. There's a transportation bill that's going to be coming through that's going to be sponsored by Faith Winter that talks a lot about bikes and rapid transit, putting fees on gasoline instead of fees on EV like we have today. It's kind of crazy that you have to pay extra to own an electric vehicle because we're not paying the gas tax, when what they should be doing is drastically increasing the gas tax. There's a building emissions bill, which is something I'm really excited about. We have to get rid of natural gas in our houses and our buildings and start electrifying everything. There's a construction materials and modernizing the grid bill, which is another thing that, especially with what happened in Texas, modernizing the grid is going to be critical. And yet we have to do it in order to electrify everything anyways. If we're going to start pushing through enough electricity to power everything without fossil fuels, we need to modernize the grid. And then there's a demand side management bill that basically incentivizes Excel and hopefully the other power companies in the state too, to move away from fracked gas and to, give them incentives to push electric furnaces to their customers, and imposing a fee on them for the social cost of methane and natural gas. So those are some of the bills that are definitely going to be coming through. There'll be a lot more. But like I said, what I wanted to talk about was, I put a link here at the top of this page. If someone wants to copy that and put it in the chat, that would be great too. That's how you can go and find out what's happening in the legislature at the state level on the web. You can participate remotely in committee meetings or making public commentary. You have to register to attend a hearing. And I'm not going to read through all this, but it tells you what the steps are that you need to take. If you want to test it, if you want to actually testify on a bill, I put in the link here for where you can go to actually register to testify. But you have to have WebEx to participate. You can't, all their stuff is on WebEx. So it's a free app, but you'll have to go to the WebEx website and download it. So the way the state legislative process works, somebody introduces a bill, they do a first reading, then it goes to committee. And committee is really where you can get involved. So they have hearings, they have a public hearing and public comments. within the committee, and that's where you can make comments. You can send written comments that they have to read into the record. You can register to give live verbal comments. And then after that, basically, the committee does their report, then it goes to the House floor or the Senate floor for the second reading, and that's where they can make amendments and stuff. And then after the amendment process and debate is over, then it actually goes for the third reading and passage of the bill. So the good news for Colorado is we've got a state house and a state senate that's all controlled by the party that actually wants to do something on these issues. So there's a good chance that a lot of these things will get passed this year. But they still need to be pushed, especially on natural gas and fracking. That's, Colorado unfortunately has a long history with fracking and natural gas, and the state agencies that manage that stuff really need a lot of pushing in that area. So I'm going to wrap it up. Like I said, I'll share this with Brianna so she can include it for anybody that's interested in getting a copy of this. Thanks, Brianna.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks for putting that all together. And yeah, we'll make sure to include that in our follow-up email, which I'll send in the next day or two. Let's see. Okay, so the last couple things that I had was coming up, there is Plastic Pollution Youth Lobby Day, and read about it. So I'm just going to kind of read off of, actually, I'm just going to share my screen and you guys can look at it at the same time. Okay, so second annual Plastic Pollution Youth Lobby Day is going to happen on March 10th. We're excited to announce that we will be hosting the second annual Plastic Pollution Youth Lobby Day on March 10th. Plastic pollution is a threat to our wildlife, health, and climate, and if we do not act now, then the next generation will inherit a planet filled with plastic. Join students from across the state for a virtual lobby day where they will have the opportunity to talk to elected officials about the importance of addressing the plastic pollution crisis. There will be a bill that will get rid of some of the worst forms of plastic pollution statewide, and we need students to make their voices heard. Sign up below and you'll receive more information. So if you're interested in signing up on this form and getting more info about it, I don't know how to put that in chat. So we'll go here. All right, so that's in the chat right there. And then we also have, oh, darn. So one of the things that Craig was talking about is that EcoCycle is putting forth the Plastic Pollution Reduction Act. And you can basically support that. You can ask your legislators to support that Plastic Pollution Reduction Act, which would ban polystyrene, which is styrofoam, and plastic carryout bags. And there's an exemption in Colorado that says that local communities cannot ban certain plastics. So this law would basically strike out that exemption, allowing local communities to decide if they want to ban, plastic bags or not in their area. So there's this form you can fill out that basically gets sent directly to your legislator, asking them to support that. And then the last one, oh, no, not that one. Sorry, got too much stuff going on. EcoCycle has trainings once every month or two. And if you're an eco leader, you get information about these. The next eco leader training is called Extended Producer Responsibility. So in Eco Leader 2.0 trainings, we talk a lot about systemic change. As consumers, voting with our dollars, breaking free from single-use plastics, and recycling and composting are crucial steps to take. But along with that, we have to create systemic solutions to set our whole society up for success and get us out of this linear economy and into a circular one. One of the things we've touched on is EPR, or Extended Producer Responsibility. That's basically a policy approach that holds producers accountable for their role in the waste crisis by requiring them to pay for the recycling of their products and packaging. So you can join EcoCycle resident experts Kate Bailey and Rachel Setsky to learn all about how EPR can improve recycling, create more equitable recycling systems, and how Colorado is moving forward. So you can basically attend this training, which is on Thursday also, but from 6 to 8 p.m. So just something else to put on your radar if you're interested in learning more about that extended producer responsibility. And then the last thing I had was I just really got introduced to this nice podcast called How to Save a Planet. If you haven't heard it, it's great. I would highly recommend listening to it. They pose a lot of like, here's the issue, here's how people are working to solve it. I just listened to one on like recycling, and it's like, here's why it's good to recycle like aluminum and glass and paper, and like why plastic is actually so bad. So if you're ever wondering like, well, I could just recycle it, what's the issue? This is a great podcast. I think you can get it on Spotify or Apple or wherever you get podcasts from. So that is basically it. I'm going to put this link in there as well. So there is the link for the plastic pollution bill to ask your legislators to support it. And then here is the link for the Eco Leader training. And then here's the link for the podcast. And again, we will, I'll include all these links in the follow-up email that I send. So that's basically it. We're right at 8 o'clock. Any questions or anything from anybody?
Maybe I have a few ideas about gardening for the upcoming season. It shouldn't take long. While I was thinking how to reduce my carbon footprint and how to plant my own garden, I came up with the problem that a lot of times we would buy plants from the store and they come in a plastic container, and you would store the container and then you get tired of it, you would throw it to recycling, and then next season comes and like you need more containers. This issue that comes up every year, and I was thinking maybe we could do something or organize a space at our community garden to bring the pots over, and maybe somebody who needs pots could come and pick those up. So instead of recycling it, which might not even be recycled at the end, we could reuse it and share it in the community. So that was one of the ideas. The other thing I came up with is, instead of using those small little pots when you start your seeds, instead of using plastic, I found these soil blockers. I don't know if anybody saw those. Pretty much you make a mix of soil, you stamp it, and a little blocks come out with the hole for seeds. So you can start 20 seeds at a time without using plastic containers. And then if you do smaller size for smaller seeds, once they get bigger, you can actually make a bigger block with the hole that is size of a small block and put the seed back in. And there are a lot of great videos explaining the system and how good it is for a plant, and it doesn't get shocked when you transferred to the soil because it has this air pruning feature to it. And yeah, I can show a couple things that I started, and actually it works pretty well. Let me see. So there's some seeds that are grown in the blocks already, and yeah, I just love it. It's very convenient.
Nice, that looks great.
Yeah. And then the last thing is probably in terms of gardening is if you have limited space in your backyard or you have only a balcony, there is this great system that is called Garden Tower. I don't know if people heard about it, but it's pretty much a tower where you put soil and you have up to 50 different plants in it. And the best part about this tower is that in the middle there is a space for worms. So you can throw your compost in the tower and they're gonna go through the compost and all this nutrition is gonna go straight to your plants. And when you water from the top, if you have excess water coming out, it's all collected at the bottom. So you can take it out and pour back to your plants, either it's vegetables or greens, and nutrients will stay within the system instead of just going somewhere. So those are a few tips that I learned, a few tricks that I learned within the last months when I was preparing for the next season. And I'll be happy to share links or to answer any questions if you guys have. And so, yeah, thank you for letting me jump in.
Thank you
yeah,
so
links
much.
would be great. The tower thing sounds really cool. If you could give us a link to that, that'd be fantastic.
Sure. Yes. I'm going to send in the chart and send it to Brianna later as well. So
perfect. Yeah, and anything you guys can send, if you can send it to me by tomorrow, I'll be working on that follow-up email. So, and hopefully get that out on Wednesday to everybody so that they can sign up for those events that are happening on Thursday and stuff. So that would be great. Thanks for sharing. What's your first name again? I forgot.
Christina.
Christina, that's right. I was like, I knew she's been here before. And Christina, were you planning to join a community garden this summer?
We have our backyard garden, and we just got the garden tower as well.
Oh, nice.
So we're just composting for now. And we had our first kid, so we're a little busy with things.
Yeah, no worries.
Yeah, I would love to help if there is any like volunteering projects that like one weekend out of a month. So, yeah, I would like to participate, but in terms of like growing something, I don't think I
yeah,
I have
got enough garden right now, it sounds like. I don't think you need any more. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, and if you want to put any links to any of those items you were showing us, that would be great. I'd like to include.
Yeah, sure. I'll try to do it. Yeah.
Awesome. Anybody else have any thoughts or comments or questions or anything?
Hey guys, I just wanted to say thank you to Craig and Shannon for all the resources that you guys provided today. I'm fairly new to Colorado, to Broomfield and Colorado in general, and I've been a little bit stuck trying to find where to go for these things, and I'm really eager to get involved, but it can be very overwhelming to try and find, you know, the right resources to get informed, and then the next step, getting involved. So just a big thank you. It's a great place to start.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you guys. Yeah, and we're trying to make our website more of a place for that, and we are updating it right now. So it's not functioning exactly as we'd like it. So we're doing some updates, and hopefully it'll be at like full running capacity by maybe Earth Day at the latest is hopefully it. So yeah, we'd like to be able to include all these links and stuff on there as well.
Yeah, Augustina, sorry, I can't type fast enough to type this in the comments, but you know, if you're really interested in diving into the Climate Reality Project, you can join a Climate Reality Project chapter. There's a Boulder chapter that's a brand new chapter, and there's a Denver Metro chapter. You can join a chapter without being a Climate Reality leader. And the chapters do a lot of work, and a lot of the legislation stuff that I talked about. There's a legislative committee, but there's a lot of other committees you can get involved in climate reality too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I mean, just having a place to start, just to get informed and take the first step and join at least one group. And so there's a lot out there, but I feel like just narrowing it down and figuring out, what you want to contribute, and that's just the starting point. So thank you so much.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for such a great meeting tonight. And we'll follow up with everything. So watch your emails. And thanks again for coming. And we'll hopefully see you. We're going to do the very last Monday in March is our next meeting. So the 29th. Hopefully that'll be after everybody's spring break. So we'll be able to have people attend and not be gone, or I don't know if people are going on spring break this year. I guess we'll see. So all right. Well, everyone have a wonderful night. Thanks again for coming.
Thank you.
Wait.
Thanks, everyone.
Before you go, let me take a screenshot really quick. So everybody, if you can turn your camera on, and then I have to remember the buttons I hit for screenshot.
That's good. Yeah, keeps her wit with her. Talking to people.
Does anyone know the 3 buttons you hit to take a screenshot? It's like Command, Shift, and something.
Command Shift S on PC.
Yeah.
On Mac.
I don't know Mac.
Try Shift 5 or Command.
Good. Well, I was at a
Okay, everybody smile. 1, 2, 3.
exercise class. Sheila and I are pumping weights.
I think you need to.
Got it.
You have to do what?
When you take screenshot, you need to pick the area on the screen, like drag.
I didn't have to do
drag
that last
out.
time.
But I'm not sure.
I don't know my buttons.
I can take a screenshot and send it to you, Brianna.
Okay, that'd be perfect. Thank
Cool.
you.
Everybody smile. 1, 2, and almost 2.5, 2 3/4, 3. Excellent. Cool. I will send that to you.
I appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful night,
Bye,
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So I think it's designed for everything. For